Hello everybody and welcome back to the stream. It's Saturday and you know what that means. It's time for the weekend kickoff, our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. And it's the end of our first week in the new space and it's just as echoey. We're going to be dealing with that for a while, just so you're clear, so I'm clear. The echo's not going to go away for a bit and that's okay. I still need to figure out what I want to do with the rest of the space, and I really don't know. I want to get stuff up on the walls, at least these walls here, because that'll help to trap some of the sound. But yeah, there's just so much opportunity, and I'm not in a rush. It's the weird thing about moving into a new space in the middle of a pandemic. It's like, you get all these ideas and you're like, oh, I should set up a better kitchen table and all of this stuff and make sure there's seating. And then you're like, well, yeah, but I don't have to rush that because it's going to be a while before people can actually come over and spend time in this space. So just trying to keep reminding myself that I don't have to go hell for leather. How does that phrase go? It's always weird when you are like, I'm going to say this phrase, and then you say it and you realize, I have no idea how this phrase goes. So that's where we are right now, my friends. But it is a beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning. Last night was wonderful. I hope everybody had a good rest of their night after our very intensive core day for functional home fitness. I legitimately let myself relax last night. And, that can be difficult for many of us, and I'm included in that many of us. So, I had dinner and then just was on the couch, snuggled up on the couch watching, sorry, tickle in my throat, watching WandaVision, the new episode. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then, the documentary on Theranos and Elizabeth Holmes, which was fascinating and terrifying in equal measure. And I used to work in healthcare and health insurance, so it was doubly terrifying for me in places. And then a couple of episodes, so there's a podcast called Song Exploder, and they've turned it into like a Netflix show. I mean, it's essentially just the podcast, but you get to see the people. Watched a couple of episodes of that because I've had a number of people recommend it to me and I hadn't watched it before, and I was like, yeah, this feels like the thing to watch tonight. It was excellent. If you're interested in songwriters nerding out about writing some of your favorite songs, this is definitely the podcast for you. And it's not just, I'm going to talk about my process, although there's plenty of that and it's really fascinating. Listening to Trent Reznor talk about songwriting is just amazing. But they also, will have the original track or the original demo, and they'll pull out all of the different layers of the track, which is something that people don't necessarily think about when they listen to their music, that the recording is layers on layers of different sounds and different instruments, and so they will they'll just pull different tracks out and be like, oh, so where did this weird undertone sound underpinning the beginning of the song come from, and what's the instrument that was being used here before the piano kicks in? It was really cool. Really cool. So if you're a song nerd or like people like Lin-Manuel Miranda and Trent Reznor and REM, then check it out. It's on Netflix and it was super cool. This isn't sponsored. That's obvious. I'm just talking about a show I enjoyed. But yeah. It was just super relaxing, which was absolutely wonderful. And a good reminder that it's important to take time to deliberately relax. And I know I'm telling you that all the time. And you know that part of the reason that I remind you of it so often is because I'm not necessarily the best at it either. And it is something that I really want to always remind myself of and to remind you of too, because we just do not place enough importance on rest. Just sitting and being and not feeling like you need to be accomplishing something or, you know, doing a hobby and monetizing it, or, you know, oh, I have to like prep all of this stuff or go for a walk because I need exercise. Like, just letting yourself be in one place for multiple hours. Yeah, it's not something that I'm always particularly good at. And let me tell you, it felt incredible. Just relaxed for the rest of the evening and then went to bed, you know? Never at any point got up and was like, okay, well, relaxation time is over. Now it's time for me to get productive. It was like, okay, relaxation time is over because it's time to go to sleep. And it felt really amazing. It felt really amazing. And I want to keep talking about it. I want to keep reminding you all of it as well, because it is way too easy for all of us to just fall into, no, I have to be productive 24/7, 365. And none of us can live that way. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And there's way too much fetishizing of that these days. Hello, good morning, my dear. Good to see you. Let me tell you, in the Theranos documentary, there was a lot of fetishizing of that. I mean, not fetishizing, on the part of Elizabeth Holmes. That was the fascinating thing about the documentary, was that there was so much of her voice speaking, you know, in interviews and in, you know, Theranos made documentaries and stuff. It's amazing. Highly recommend it. But there's, especially in like entrepreneur culture and startup culture, there's such a fetishization of, yeah, I don't have a life. I sleep 4 hours a night and all the rest of my time is devoted to doing this. And it's like, well, that's not good. It doesn't make you better. And it doesn't make you healthier, and it doesn't make you a better human. It just means you're not taking care of yourself well. Ooh, Icarus. Oh, which one was that? Which one? Describe that one to me, because it sounds really familiar, but I can't tell if it sounds familiar because someone's recommended it to me before or because I've watched it. I have, yes. Whoa, that was a weird one. Okay, one more documentary recommendation before we get started with class. Yes, Icarus starts out with this guy who's from the Boulder area. Like the beginning, like training shots of him cycling are all roads that I know. So starts out with this guy being like, I want to test out, like, you know, how easy it would be to dope and how it might actually like improve my cycling performance. And it became this guy uncovering the breadth and depth of Russian athlete doping. And it's just like, it is a fascinating documentary to watch. Yeah. Oh my God. I had forgotten about that one, Amanda, but that, yeah. Strong recommend for that as well. It is just, yeah. It's like, it's kind of like two different films. Like it feels, and I mean, it is essentially, because he started with a very different premise. And then it became, yeah, as she said, like, how do I extricate my Russian contact alive and prevent him from being assassinated in a time when there were a lot of high-profile media stories about former Russian, like KGB folks and stuff like that, dying under very suspicious circumstances. Oh man. Okay, yeah. So those are your three sort of documentary style recommendations for today. We've got Icarus for Russian doping scandals. We've got Theranos for Silicon Valley runs headfirst up against, oh, we can't hack our way around stuff that is supposed to make people healthier. And Song Exploder, if you're super nerdy about music and or just want a little more context about how some of your favorite songs are made. Like, that's the nice thing, is even if you're not, like, if you don't have the full understanding of, you know, the super technical stuff that they get into, it doesn't matter, because the whole episode is still fascinating and still gives you so much context. So there you are. There are your recommendations for the morning. It feels so wonderful. Look at that sky. Dang. Yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous out. I am using the lights today because, you know, this window is absolutely amazing, but it doesn't get, like, the sun right now at least is offset enough that I'm not getting full-on indirect light in here, if that makes any sense. So I figured I'd, you know, give myself an assist. Because when I went to stand on the mat earlier, I was like, my entire head is in shadow. That doesn't seem great. Anyway, welcome friends to the weekend kickoff. This is our Saturday morning class. It's our only morning class, but it's a great class. And it's not so early that you're like, oh my God, I dragged myself out of bed at 4 a.m. for this. No, it's Saturday. We're not doing that. But, yeah, so if this is your first time coming to any of my classes, welcome. For your first class, and honestly, probably like your first few classes, I don't want you to give me 100%. I don't want you to give me 120%. I want you to give me the bare minimum. No Saturday dawn workouts. Not, some people do that and it's great and it works for them. It does not work for me. So, yes, what does the bare minimum consist of? 3 things: starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly. If you focus on just those 3 things, you will get a fantastic workout, okay? You will get more than enough workout. Sorry. Yeah, see, dawn workout definitely wouldn't happen for me. But yeah, you will get a fantastic workout, and you will also hopefully want to come back to class, because that's our goal, right? We don't want to take our first class and go, yeah, I'm going to crush it, and then get to the end of it and be like, that was so freaking miserable, I never want to do that again. That defeats the purpose. It's not good for me. It's not good for you. This is a journey. Fitness is a journey, just like every other component of our health is. It's not something where we have to get to a finish line, especially not right away. So yeah, come in, focus on the bare minimum, focus on learning form, focus on understanding the structure of class. And then once you've got a few classes under your belt, then you can start going, all right, how do I want to challenge myself now? Okay. All right, I think it's time to get started. So let's do our pre-class checklist. Hey, everybody got your water? Taking that first morning sip. I've got a nice little inflamed bit on my thumb from pulling a hangnail, because I'm a monster. So I'm picking things up really awkwardly today. Good thing this is a bodyweight class. You've got your comfy clothes on, whatever that means to you. You've got your mat or your mat-sized space on the floor. And if you use fitness wearable, now's the time to turn it on to high-intensity interval training. I'm testing something with the mat setup. Previously, I had a third mat underneath just for added traction, because in the previous place, you know, the puzzle pieces were just sort of free floating and they would just wiggle all over the place. Since they are actually sort of pushed from wall to wall now, I'm going to test out whether I actually need that and see if that works. And maybe I do need that. Who knows? So maybe at some point while we're warming up, I'll go, yeah, just carry on, and I'll fix up my mat setup. Anything's possible. But it's time to warm up, my friends. My feet are feeling cold, so it's definitely time to warm up. Ooh, oh, yeah. Also, nothing like sitting cross-legged and then being like, well, my foot's asleep. Just how I want to start class. Alrighty, my friends, let's get going. It's going to be a fun one. I've got some new exercises. Alright, so everybody on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and when that horn goes, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges. That horn went, but that was super low. Sorry about that. I forgot to make sure the sound was up. There we go. We won't have that issue going forward. Hi-ya! So here we are, a beautiful weekend, and yeah, you know, obviously not everybody has traditional weekends. If you're working in food service or retail, any of those, you know, I have to be customer facing roles, you may not have a traditional weekend. So this may just be like the start of another work day. But regardless of whether this is your weekend or whether you sort of take your weekend at a different time, I really do, my homework for you over my weekend is for you to make a commitment to yourself that at some point over your weekend, you will take a multi-hour chunk of time to just relax, to not worry about being productive, to not worry about cleaning or getting prepped for next week or, you know, anything like that. I want you to take some time to just be able to relax. Maybe that's listening to music. Maybe that's playing video games. Maybe that's watching documentaries on failed Silicon Valley medical startups. Anything's possible, but I want you to do that for yourself. I want you to start taking rest as seriously as you take all of the other things that you do, okay? Because it is so important, and it so frequently gets treated as an afterthought. And for some of us that simply feels like how it has to be, you know? For so many people who don't have, who are financially disadvantaged, people who are poor, people who are working 3 jobs just to survive, you know, they truly may not have more than, you know, a half an hour in which to potentially relax. I still want you to try and take that. And I want the rest of you who have that privilege, who have that available time, that ability to sit on a couch for a few hours. I want you to take that time. I want you to let it refresh you. And I want you to use it to fuel your dedication to helping change the world so that everybody gets that opportunity. Because rest is so important, and we have constructed an incredibly unfair society that prevents so many people from feeling like they can rest, from feeling like they get to or deserve to or have the time to. And we really need to all start taking rest seriously and seeing it as a fundamental human right, because it should be. And for those of us who have the flexibility, who have that opportunity, take advantage of it and use that to inspire you to help create a world where everybody has that and everybody can take true rest time for themselves, that where they are not beholden to anyone else's wants, where they're not beholden to an employer expecting them to sacrifice their rest time, where they're not beholden to anybody thinking that they have a right to infringe upon that time. It is so important. And when we talk about self-care and wellness, we have to always look at the full picture, because it's all well and good for me to be here being like, yeah, I want you to focus on rest this weekend. And for a lot of my students, that's probably something you could do. You probably have that flexibility, absolutely. But there are plenty of people who don't. And we have to have that conversation. We have to talk about the fact that so many of the things that we put under the umbrellas of wellness and self-care, and that we say, oh, this is super important, everybody should be doing this. So many of those things are things that are not available to people who are poor, to people who are working minimum wage just to stay in shitty 650 square foot apartments. And we have to have that conversation, because when we leave that part of the conversation out, it is way too easy for us to then start assigning moral judgments, right? This is something that's built into American DNA since the Puritans. We assign moral judgments to people not being able to, live up to whatever standard. And we ignore the fact that we have created systems that trap them in these places and prevent them actively, not even passively, but actively prevent them from these opportunities and from doing things that we deem critical or moral. And so we always have to have those two conversations hand in hand, because it's way too easy to forget that second part, to forget that intersectionality, to forget that it's all well and good for me to tell you to take a few hours to relax, but if you're a single parent working multiple jobs, you truly may not have that time, or you may not have more than 20 minutes or half an hour of that time. And so I have to make sure that I am paying attention to the fact that it is wonderful that I'm able to do this, to take this time, to have a whole evening where I just sat on a couch and relaxed and watched interesting documentaries, and that's awesome. And it's very refreshing and revitalizing. And I need to take that refreshment and revitalizing, and I need to use it to fuel my own work towards creating a more just and equitable society than we have now. So, yeah, I will always try to remember to have both parts of that conversation, because, there's nothing more frustrating than a white person being like, oh, just go for a walk, you'll feel so much better. It's like, well, oh my God, there's so much. There's so many reasons why that's not just a simple proposition for people. So, yes, that's some of what I'm thinking about this morning, just as I am in a place that's a little bit more stable now than I have been. for the last few years. Just trying to think about how I can use that stability, use that improved quality of life and improved mental health to help other people, you know? So that more and more people are able to get to that place. Because that's the world I want to live in. I want to live in a world where everyone, including that single parent, is able to take a few hours and just sit on the couch and relax when they need to or want to, you know? When that doesn't have to be something that you sneak into your schedule and feel guilty about the whole time, but is something that you're like, yeah, this is important. This is something that I make sure to do for myself, you know? I want to live in a world where we can just say that and people know that they have the ability to do that. And we don't live in that world yet. We absolutely don't. So, yeah, just important things to think about. I believe important things for us all to keep in mind, particularly those of us who are more privileged, you know, whether that's financially or because of the color of your skin or your gender identity, sexual orientation, or a mix of all of those. Yeah, it is important that we are always checking in on what it is that allows us to take these opportunities, to, you know, feel comfortable leaving a job to start that company, or feel comfortable sitting on the couch for a few hours. Because we like to mythologize. We like to say, oh, you know, these people who create these companies, it's because they're visionaries and they have something that nobody else has. Well, that's bullshit. Look, we have like somewhere between 7 and 9 billion people on the planet. Ain't none of us have anything that at least a few other people don't have. What you know, company creators frequently do have is money. You know, access to money, either through inheriting it or having friends who have it who are willing to take that chance, or family. You know, the difference between the Silicon Valley startup CEO and the person who, you know, has to work 3 different service jobs to afford their apartment, it's not a difference in brilliance or vision. It's a difference in, you know, whether you have the luxury to not always be in survival mode. And survival mode is a real thing, and it's really intense, and it absolutely impacts our ability to dream and to create and to, you know, envision a brighter future. And it's really important to keep that in mind and to never look at any of these, you know, CEOs and inventors and people and assume that they are somehow far above everybody else. They're not. And they might be the nicest people in the world, but their work is also still predicated on the work of hundreds and thousands of other people. throughout history. You know, nobody is inventing in a vacuum. Nobody is out there being like, I have created this entire concept all by myself. It's just not true. And we like to believe that it is. We like to, again, mythologize. But, you know, it's harmful. It's harmful to see these people as geniuses who are envisioning a future no one else could envision, instead of people who are building on the work of everyone who came before them and everyone who is working at the same time as them, and building from there. Creation is always collaborative, and we do everyone a disservice by creating these pedestal people who we say, oh, that person just so brilliant, so genius, no one else could do what they do. We're doing everyone a disservice by saying that. Whew! All right. Well, that was a very philosophical warm-up. Ooh, my chat blew up while I was over there. Yeah. Ooh, good point. Good point, Amanda. Chronic illness and pain conditions. Things like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, hypermobility. Yeah. Cystic fibrosis, like, that is another excellent point. And that, I hadn't even gone there in my head. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And again, I think part of why taking a day off due to a migraine makes people go, oh, you're getting to relax all day, is because we have devalued relaxation so much, to the point where we blame people for needing to take time, for whatever reason. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is another hugely important element, where some days it's not even about relaxation, it's about recovery and managing different conditions. And that happens with mental health conditions as well. When your depression or your anxiety or your OCD are really rearing their heads, and you need to take a day off, well, it's not a day off so that you can twiddle your thumbs and go to Disneyland. It's a day off so that you can try and manage these conditions that can be very debilitating. So that is a very see, this is the importance of intersectionality, and this is why we want to bring up all of these different facets of the issue. It is not and has never been as simple as just sit on a couch and you'll feel better. Just go for a walk in the woods and your depression will disappear. Have you considered doing yoga or eating X, Y, or Z thing? We are part of systems, and we need to look at the entire system and see what we can do to change it and make it better. Because right now it's failing basically everybody except for the 0.01%. Oh, my dears. But you know what I'm excited about? We're going to work out. And that's hopefully going to be a really good experience for you. So we're going to start with a perpetual motion set, 30-second work intervals, 3 exercises. And We're gonna have push-ups to start with. So I do not mind whatever variant you do. You can do a full plank push-up. You can do a push-up from the knees. You can do push-up down, half push-up, half wave. You can do a full wave. You can do an incline push-up from the wall or from furniture. The only things I care about, making sure that from your starting position, you've got those shoulders directly over the wrists, okay? Nice long position. Even if I'm going from the knees, you can still see I'm lengthened as much as possible from my knees up to the crown of my head. The other thing is when you're going down into the push-up, make sure to keep your arms glued to your sides, okay? Not letting them fan out. So that helps to focus the work on our triceps, all right? So that's exercise 1. Exercise 2 is going to be turtle stands. So the classic, the turtle that started it all. So rolling up on the shoulders, up on the feet, and standing all the way up. A little nest, and just going over and over again. All right? And then our third exercise is something new. All right, so this is going to become a core exercise, although initially it's going to be us getting into a front plank. So we're in a front plank from the elbows, and then I'm going to drop one hip down almost to the floor, and then back up to plank, and then drop the other hip. I'm not going all the way down, okay? Almost to the floor, not putting weight on the floor. And we're just going back and forth from side to side, okay? So a nice core exercise. I've got such a new repertoire of core exercises. It's great. All right, so push-ups, turtle stands, and we're calling them London bridges. So everybody on your mats, and get ready to start as soon as you hear that horn. Hey, there we are. Always remembering with push-ups, there's a lot of, cultural belief in the superiority or inferiority of different versions of push-ups. Like back in the 80s and 90s, it was like, oh, girls do push-ups from the knees, and that's just, super weak and sad. It's not. And anybody actually doing push-ups knows that it is just as intense an exercise. So never, ever try to shame yourself into doing a version of push-ups that you don't feel prepared for, all right? If you want to just stick to push-ups from the knees, you do that. All right, so, yeah, you can tap the hip against the floor, but you don't want to put any weight on it. And you want to make sure that your shoulders are engaged the whole time so that they are stabilizing this whole thing. Because usually we're just holding that plank position. So this is something new. Woo! Oh man, I am already feeling the groove. Yeah. What a wonderful way to wake up on a Saturday. All right, so second time through on push-ups, check in on your form every time you start an exercise again, even if it's the 10th time you've done it. Always check in on that form. And now turtle stands. You know everything about turtle stands. I love them so much. Just know that there are modifications if you struggle to get all the way up on your feet. You can use a hand to assist or roll over a knee. Just be aware that that will basically put a stop to the momentum, and that makes the rest of the exercise a little more difficult. So keep that in mind and see what you can do to work towards being able to roll right up on your feet. Always remembering though that I don't want you to push to something that your body's not ready for yet, okay? So if you need to keep pushing yourself up on that hand, that's fine. That's totally fine. All right. Last time through, my friends. So how do those push-ups feel? Checking in and making sure that all of those form components are still there. So shoulders directly over wrists, keeping those elbows right in by your sides so that you're really feeling the work on your triceps, right? Believe me, you know when you're doing it correctly. Woo! All right. And now our last one of turtle stands. I like this one. It's nice and easy. It's not throwing us into too many shapes that we're not expecting to be in. And that is really nice. And now for our last London bridges. Whew. There we go. Try to make sure that you're returning to that nice front plank before you bring the next hip down, okay? So we don't want the butt to be way up there in between. We want to maintain that front plank. Ooh, good job, everybody. Dang. Oh, yeah. That was fun. Ha ha ha. Yeah! Core feeling so fresh and so clean. We did a lot of core work yesterday, my friends. And it was fun. In my estimation, anyway. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, if you're feeling your core today, it means you did some good work. All right, so our next set is going to be 45-second work intervals. Still perpetual motion, so we're still not doing any rest interval in there. 3 exercises still, all right? And yeah, we're going to do, okay. So we are going to do, first, we're going to do bicycles. A nice oblique activator. So starting lying on your mat, I've contracted my abs. That has lifted my shoulders and my head off the floor. I'm going to bring one knee in towards the chest, the other leg extended but off the ground. Bring elbow to opposite knee, and then switch. And we're just going back and forth there. All right? Second exercise. Everybody's favorite, mountain climbers. All right, a lot of planking today. So get those shoulders ready because they need to be prepared. So we start from that plank position, shoulders directly over wrists and butts out of the air, just driving one knee at a time up towards the chest and always keeping the shoulders aligned over the wrists. So if you start pushing backwards, and you'll feel it, just try and push the butt back down. That'll get you back down to the plank, okay? And then our third is going to be high knee runs. So related to the Flaming Scarlet, but we don't have to have our arms up in the air. So just running, lifting those knees up as high as you can, trying to get them above the crease in the hip, okay? And if you're not able to do that yet, then just trying to get them up as high as you can. So those are our exercises. We've got bicycles, mountain climbers, and high knee runs. All right, 45-second work intervals. So everybody, back on your mat, lying down, getting prepped, because as soon as you hear that horn, yeah, we are off. So one of the big things with this exercise is not bringing your hands behind your head or neck, okay? I know that that was very common when we were all taught crunches and sit-ups back in PE class, but it's one of the reasons why it can be really easy to compensate for weak abdominals by using other muscle groups, because we're trained that way. So when we're like, well, I don't have the core strength, let me just try and pull my head forward, and that is not good for your abs, your head, your neck, anything. And so if you've been finishing up runs of abdominal exercises and being like, man, my neck is really stiff, or my head feels really sore, well, it's probably because you were not actually driving the movement using your core, you were driving it by pulling, all right? So keep that in mind. Let me tell you, my core is also feeling very fresh from yesterday. Holy cow, that was a heck of a day. And so anyone who took functional home fitness last night and is now here this morning, I salute you, because dang, I am feeling some things, and I bet you are too. Woo! Yeah. Back around. Round two. Happy to report that I don't think I need that extra mat, which is awesome, because it definitely lets me throw out a janky old yoga mat. The reason that mat had become the under the setup mat is because it is so old that it's just kind of shedding bits. So especially when I first started class, I would just find the living room was just covered in these little purple bits of yoga mat that were just shedding off of the mat in waves. So yeah, it'll be nice to not have to worry about that anymore. Oh my goodness. All right, second round of mountain climbers. Check in on that form, okay? That form is super critical, and it may feel more intense after last round where we had both push-ups and the London bridges, okay? So really make sure that you're able to stabilize those shoulders. All right, and now getting up and doing those high knee runs. Oh, getting a little bit of that cardio in for today. Dang, what a class. This is feeling great. You know, earlier in the week was definitely, I felt a little scattered, you know, because the move was done, but you're in a new space and everything feels different. You don't quite know where everything is. And that can be really intense. So it is very nice to feel like I am settling back into where I am and getting the opportunity to turn my focus back to my workouts when it's workout time. Hey, 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 hey. So that feels really nice. I'm sure that plenty of you know that feeling, whether you're returning to exercise after recovering from an injury, or if you have also moved recently and just know the intensity of trying to get your life back in order when you have just upended it so spectacularly. All right. How's everyone doing on the breathing front? Because that's also really important. Making sure that you are not forgetting to breathe. Obviously, it's a little weirder for me because I'm talking the whole time. So sometimes I'm just like, oh, okay, I need to actually stop. But yeah, making sure that you are still bringing oxygen into your body and making sure that you are exhaling it too, okay? You want to be able to drive all of this exercise, and oxygen is a hugely important component of that, okay? We need it to run our energy production systems and to keep fueling all of this work and our muscles' ability to participate in this exercise. So never forget to breathe. And it may be hard, especially right now, but it's important. Whew. All right. Dang. Speaking of breathing, I like that dead hair just, hello, it's me, I'm fine. All right. Yeah. My core is definitely aware that yesterday was core day. And it's honestly not that frequent for me that I do a day that feels really focused on one of the major muscle groups. I usually try to spread the workout evenly, but some days you really just want that focused intensity. And yesterday was definitely one of them. And today, yeah, my abdominals are like, so we did a lot of this yesterday. You remember yesterday when we worked our asses off? Yeah, you remember yesterday. I'm like, well, yes, I do remember yesterday. And I'm proud of you for still having some gumption left today. All right, so one more perpetual motion round, 1 minute work intervals, still 3 exercises. So we're gonna start with ski-ups, which are a nice and chill exercise. So we're just up, skipping in place on the mat, okay? So you lift one knee, lift the opposite arm, hop, and then place and other side. So we're not trying to move around on the mat. We're just trying to stay right here. Alrighty? Second exercise is gonna be bringing some party back to the arms and shoulders. So it's gonna be chaturanga to downward dog, okay? So we're gonna, my usual caveat, I'm not a yoga instructor, so this is sort of my version. So yeah, if you want to do the yoga version if you're more familiar with that. Follow the broad strokes of the exercise, but feel free to do, like I know you fold over the tops of the feet in a way that I don't do for this, so if that feels more normal, you can absolutely do that. But the broad strokes, from a front plank, going down as if in a push-up. When you're almost to the ground, leave the hips behind, extend the arms, look up at the ceiling, then push back against the hands to downward dog, back to that plank, and repeat. Okay, so that's one. No, that's two. So skips, chaturanga to downward dog, and then 3 is going to be ankle reaches, a classic core exercise. Legs extended straight up in the air. If you do need to put a bend in the knees, make sure to pull the knees towards you rather than bending the feet farther away, okay? And then, again, contract the abdominals so it lifts your shoulders off the ground. One hand to the outside of the opposite ankle, and back and forth, and back and forth, okay? Oh, man. All right. So, skips, chaturanga to downward dog, and ankle reaches. No new exercises in this particular round. You're getting some oldies but goodies. So let me just get the timer set up. Nope, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Having a Band-Aid on your thumb impacts your ability to use a lot of modern technology. All right. So everybody on your mats, getting ready to start as soon as you hear that horn go, and we will be off and away. So skips, you know, if you've taken class with me long enough, you know that skips are the cardio exercise I bust out when I want you to feel pretty relaxed. So I technically class them as cardio, but you know, we're pretty chill here. We're not worried too much about form issues. There's not a lot that can go wrong here, apart from making sure that you're on a surface that's pretty good for knee impact. So trying to have some softness underneath. But in terms of, you know, really intensive form, there's not a ton that you need to worry about, which is good. All right. These, on the other hand, we've sort of built up to this over the course of class because we've done push-ups, so we know how to set that first position, and then we did mountain climbers, and we learned how to make sure that we were still stabilizing our shoulders during movement. And now is the time that we really get to bring all of that together and build out a really nice, full throttle exercise that we are working our arms, working our shoulders. And then good old ankle reaches. Because you know what? Sometimes the classics are really a relief to come back to. And we've had a number of new exercises today. And I had initially thought that I might do one more, but I think ending out class, and this isn't the total end, there's going to be something after it, but ending out class with things that we are familiar with is nice because it lets us really use the last of that energy and focus it on challenging ourselves rather than having to worry about what was the exercise again, what were the form points again, because that is a component of doing a new exercise in class, always. So, all right, second time through, my friends. You are skipping along through a meadow, sound of music like, hats off to Christopher Plummer, who left us yesterday. He was, such a remarkable actor. He had so much power, and frequently in a very understated way that still did not take away from his power. And then there were the times when he would go full Shakespearean actor, which is always a joy to watch. You don't see it a ton in films because film is a very different medium than theater. But if you've ever seen Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, where he plays General Chang, and let me tell you, this is one of the great actors of our era, and he's completely unrecognizable because he's in full Klingon makeup and costume, and he is just beautifully chewing the scenery in a way that good Shakespearean actors can do. And it's perfect for the role. It's perfect for a Klingon character because the Klingons have always been very bombastic and Shakespearean in a lot of ways. And it's a reminder that was a man that when he was quiet and dangerous, you felt the intensity waiting to strike. And when he let that out, oh boy, you best nail down the furniture because it's going to get blown away. So yeah, that was a very sad loss. He was still doing remarkable performances. I have to admit, and I recognize that this is blasphemous, I wasn't crazy about the movie Knives Out, but he was delightful in it. He was absolutely delightful in it. If you've seen Inside Man with Clive Owen and Denzel Washington and Jodie Foster, he was in that as well and was just stunning. He was still at the peak of his ability, and it was amazing, a thing of beauty to see. So thank you for all the wonderful performances that you gave us, Christopher Plummer. We will very much miss you. All right, third time through. How's everybody doing? How's that breathing going? Yeah, remember when I checked in with you about breathing a little earlier? That's still a good thing to be doing. So hopefully you're remembering to do that. And checking in on form again. Not a ton of form notes for skips. You do want core engagement to help you lift the knees up, okay? Having the core take some of that load makes it easier on the quads, which will be good. But otherwise, just skip it in place. It's remarkably easy, I think. All right, and now back to our chaturanga to downward dog. And the nice thing is, we're not moving quickly on this exercise, all right? This is a slow but steady process. So we do not have to be in a rush for any of this. We can just move smoothly through each of the forms and get our breathing down a little bit. and just focus on strength, stability. And now, moving into our final exercise for the set. Whew. And that is our ankle reaches. Oh yeah. So again, talking earlier about how easy it can be to compensate with other muscles. So check in and make sure that your abdominals are still participating, okay? Because with ankle reaches, all right, we could be pulling ourselves up using our arms. We could be rolling up on the shoulder blade and not engaging the core at the same time. There are a lot of things, so just keep them in mind. Woo! Oh man, so fresh and so clean. Okay, my friends, grab some water because we're about to do our final thing. And I bet you can guess what it is. Ha ha ha. Oh, all right. Oh, water, I love you. Okay, what's our final thing? It's like you've taken class with me before. All right, it's gonna be toe squats. So, 10 minutes of toe squats. This one, we're not going for a specific number. I just want you to go to the end of the timer. You can take breaks, that's fine. Make sure you're doing a consistent number of reps between each break, okay? And you set that up at the beginning. So be honest with yourself. I would love it if you were able to do sets of 50 before each break, but if you do 50, doing 50 at the beginning of the timer is very different from doing 50 at the end of the timer. So if you're gonna try to get there, I want you to feel confident that you can maintain it, all right? And when you're resting, feel free to stretch, grab some water, all that important stuff. You know the form, feet hip width apart, keeping our backs straight up and down, starting to squat. Oh, I can't go any farther because I have Achilles, so I'll let my heels raise, come all the way down to the bottom, and back up to the top. And we just do that over and over again. The crowning jewel on our Saturday class. So let's get that timer going. There'll be one horn midway through the timer just to tell you you're halfway through. Other than that, don't worry, don't change anything. So everybody on your mats, it's time. You are so close, just 10 minutes between you and stretching. So standing, ready, and go. So I know we've used our core a lot today, but it is really important in this exercise. So bust it out. One last ride, core. One last ride. You are the Paul Walker to my Vin Diesel. Sorry. Oh God, I love those stupid movies. They're so dumb, but they're so fun. The Fast and Furious franchise. I've been taking a friend through them and just being like, wow, these really are, in many places, even dumber than I remembered them being. But, oh boy, it's still a really, you know, it's the definition of a popcorn movie, right? Where you just want to make a big bowl of popcorn and you just watch the spectacle and just go, amazing. And that is definitely how I approach them. Oh my goodness. All right, so here's the thing. We're at the end of a very intense class, and your muscles are tired. They've done a lot. So I want you to really focus on form, okay? Because as we get fatigued, we start losing that unconscious focus, okay? A lot of the process of exercising is learning the form well enough that your brain can transition that knowledge out of conscious processing and into unconscious or subconscious, so that it doesn't have to focus that much bandwidth on it. But as we get tired, as we get fatigued, that process starts to break down. And so it's really important to turn your brain's attention back to just, what's the form? What do I need to be focusing on? So for instance, it can be, one of the first things that we lose for toe squats is the core engagement, because it can feel like an afterthought, you know? It's not one of the big flashy muscle groups driving the movement, you know? Obviously the quads need to be engaged. Obviously the hamstrings need to be engaged. Obviously the shoulders need to be engaged as we move the arms. It can be easy to overlook the importance of the core, but without the core, this carefully orchestrated balance starts to get a little funky, and before you know it, you're going down and you're like, whoa, where am I? And then we're falling, or we're hurting ourselves, or both. So in this last set, in this last workout timer of class, we're not necessarily going for speed, and speed's not our focus today anyway. This is strength and stamina, but we are going for consistency in our form. We are going for stability, and we are going for strength, and we are going for the ability to do all of our reps in a row, and then we take our break, and then we come back and we do all our reps in a row. All right? Those are our focus points. Pay attention to those, and you will crush it. And for our stretches, we've got the usual. We've got standing quad stretch, holding the wall so that you don't have to maintain the balance in addition to the stretch. Okay, so we've got that. We've got our calf stretch, pushing against the wall to help drive that heel down to the floor and get that stretch in. All right. And you may be able to take the leg further back on one side than the other. Hey, halfway through. Yes. And then just folding over the tops of the toes like this. You'll feel that stretch sort of come up the top of the foot and go into the shin a little bit. And this just helps to even out the effort on the toes, because the toes are coming up, they're flexing this way, this direction over and over again. So this just helps to even that out, reverse it, make it a little nicer for your feet. If you're still new to toe squats, cramping in the arches, super common. This is an exercise that if you have plantar fasciitis, I want you to be really careful. I want you to really pay attention to how your feet feel. And maybe you need to do these in sneakers so that you have that extra support, or maybe you just need to turn these into regular squats, okay? That may be what you have to do as well, alrighty? So just things to consider. Always remember that it's important for you, yes, you, to know what modifications you may need to make to exercises based on your own personal injury history, okay? Because injuries, more often than not, follow us through the rest of our lives. Sometimes just in a, like, oh, this one hip is tighter than the other one because I used to have to be really careful with it because I would sprain my right ankle a lot. But sometimes in a, oh, I just cannot take a flat position on my wrists, I have to keep my wrists straight and stable, okay? So know your injury history and learn about the impacts that it has on your body and learn how to safely modify so that you know that you are not injuring yourself further. And it's something that I do try as often as I can to bring up when I'm showing you exercises. I try to bring up, okay, you know, if you have X, Y, or Z, you can do this modification, make it a little safer for yourself, but I don't always remember to do that, and I don't always address, you know, your particular injury area. So it is really important for all of us when we are getting into fitness activities. It's important for all of us to pay attention, to know, okay, I used to sprain my ankle a lot, so that ankle is a little weaker, so when I'm doing balance on that side, I need to pay more attention to building that stability so that it's correctly protected. Stuff like that. And that's stuff that you need to know in any class that you're going into. And it is also really important that you never let any teacher anywhere bully or shame you into doing a variation of an exercise that you know is not going to be healthy for your body, okay? And there are far too many fitness instructors who take the bully drill sergeant approach. So as much as I hate it, it's really important that we know how to advocate for ourselves, that we know how to identify our challenge limits for a particular day, and that we feel safe holding to those guns no matter what, no matter who's yelling at us, okay? You know your body best, and don't let anyone ever take that away from you, all right? Woo! Holy crap! My friends, we're done. Oh my God. All right. Oh, what do I want to do? All right, let's sit down. Let's sit down. You know, my hamstrings could definitely use some help. So actually, we're gonna take a wide position with the legs, making sure your knees are pointing straight up towards the ceiling, always, all right? As with everything, we don't want to let those knees try and cave in, okay? And to start, we're going to turn our shoulders towards one leg, and we're just going to fold ourselves over that leg, trying to keep our shoulders square over it, okay? And we are going to take 4 deep breaths here. And each time you exhale, try and bring yourself a little bit deeper into the stretch, okay? Here we go. That's one. That's two. That's three. And four. Now, we have our arms on either side of the leg. For the same arm's leg, bring it inside the leg now. Open your shoulders up. Bring the other arm up and over. And just reaching nice and long. You can grab your toes if you can reach them, and you're going to feel nice, long stretch up the side, okay? We're just going to take 2 breaths here. Here we go. That's one. And two. And up to center. Just sway that torso a little bit. There we go. And now, same thing other side. So turning the shoulders, walking down over the leg, okay? Depending on your hamstring flexibility, you may be able to go lower or not as low. That's fine. Trying to keep our shoulders square towards the thigh. And let's take those 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's one. That's two. That's three. And 4. Now bringing that same arm as leg to the inside, opening the shoulders out, bringing the other arm up and over. Nice long stretch in the side. Let's take those 2 deep breaths. Here we go. That's one. And 2. And up. Sway a little bit. Let's just bounce these knees. Shake them out. Then bring the soles of your feet together. Taking that butterfly position so our knees are just falling open. Okay? And we want to fold forward, but we don't want to just curve over from the upper back, because the way that we're going to get the stretch in the hips is by bringing our lower back as close to the thighs as possible. So I want you to set up, take a flat back position, and walk yourself forward as far as you can go, trying really hard to maintain that flat back. And when you can't go any further, then you can let your head and shoulders curve over, okay? And you will feel the intensification of the hip stretch. So flat back, trying to maintain it as far down as you can. It's not going to stay perfect the whole time, but trying for it will get you down farther, and then let everything fold over. Shake your head out a little bit just so you know you're not tightening your neck. And let's take 4 deep breaths here. Here we go. That's one. That's two. That's three. And 4. That was good. Woo! All right, grab your water. Chill. Oh, what a fun class. What a fun class. And what a wonderful way to start the morning. If you're able to do this, and here's the thing, you know, I always advocate for figuring out the best days and times for you to work out. And not everybody is a morning exerciser. And don't ever feel pressured to become one, okay? Like, there is nothing inherently better about working out in the morning as working out in the afternoon. But, ooh, yeah, resting your forehead on the arches of your feet, that's fun. But it can be a really nice pop of energy for the rest of your day. I only do one morning workout every week, and it's this class. I am not, in general, somebody who wants to get up and work out right away. Even on our Saturday mornings, I get up well before class and go through my regular morning ritual before I ever get to the point where I'm like, all right, it's time to work out. But I do love this class, and I do feel the energy that it leaves me with for the rest of the day. And that can be really cool. So even if it's just one day a week, it can be really nice to experience and just to test it out. You know, again, a lot of this is trial and error, and our tastes change and our preferences change as we get older. I never used to be a morning person when I was younger. That was a huge change as I got, like late 20s, I think is when it started, when I like moved into the corporate world and had, you know, a specific time I had to be at work. But it's really ramped up in my 30s. I am far more of a morning person than I ever used to be. And that's fine. And that, you know, then I reevaluate when I work out. Does it still make sense? What activities I'm doing? Do I still enjoy them? Try something out that maybe I didn't like previously. Do I like that now? So it's always good to know what your preferences are. And it's also always good to remember that they may change and that it's great to revisit things and to say, oh, I think this would be much better for me now, or this thing I was doing previously doesn't feel like it's serving me anymore, okay? So things to keep in mind. But yeah, I am, my core's like, thank God you have a couple of days before the next class, because you've worked me really hard this week. And you know what? We like it. We love it. That's why we're here. Oh, thank you all for joining me today. It's just so lovely to get to start my day here with all of you. And this is the end of the broadcast week and the end of our first week in our new space, which I'm just so overjoyed about. Oh, it's so wonderful to have this space and to get to grow into it with all of you. Yeah, no, it's definitely relaxation time, my friends. Absolutely. Breakfast time, shower time, sitting on a couch time. We will be back again next week with the usual broadcast schedule. So starting on Tuesday at 5:45 p.m. Mountain Time for Perpetual Motion, the class where we never stop moving. Then Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. for Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. Then Friday at 6 p.m. for Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. And then coming back around to Saturday morning at 9 a.m. for the weekend kickoff. So I definitely hope that you will join me. Now that I'm settling a bit into the house, settling a bit into this space, I am really looking forward to seeing what we're able to build. Oh man, it's gonna be so great. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you're not able to make the live cast. I upload on Sundays, so they're all going up tomorrow, so definitely head over and subscribe. After much deliberation, I've decided not to put up this past Wednesday's jump around class where we were having lots of technical issues, sadly. So I'm going to keep the recording because there was a very nice digression on Die Hard, and you know how when people animate bits of podcasts. I have this image that could be a really fun thing to do. But yeah, most of the time, all of the classes go up unless we have weird technical issues. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I do have a coffee account, Blanche Fitness. Your donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to help keep growing this community, please do follow the channel. Tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 4 days a week. We have a great community. We have so much fun here. We are so close to Twitch affiliate. It's actually like really amazing. And I definitely want to keep building here, and I hope you do too. So everybody, finish your water off and refill it. And get yourself a good breakfast. Take a shower, and whatever else you're doing today, I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you feel good about it. And I will see you all back here again on Tuesday. Mwah. Have a great day.